we want to welcome everybody here.
Everything all at once?
Everything all at once.
It's honestly a sensation.
Aliens listen to it.
That's the shit, dude. I wish I had microphones like that. These are Rode
These are decent.
pod mics. So, they're nice. They sound great. Like, our quality's, like, right up there. But there's something cool about the cloud of having, like, a badass, the Shure mic that, Rogan or any other podcaster uses out there.
All of them use it.
Exactly.
Howard Stern.
Everybody. That's, like, the mic.
It's the radio mic. It's, like, the prototypical
Exactly.
for any of those things, yeah.
It's definitely pretty cool. Someday, life goals, podcast goals in the future. Jonny, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, thank you.
World famous hip hop legend in Erie.
Yeah, a world in Erie.
World in Erie famous legend hip hop phenom. Jonny Evans in the studio here on Everything at Once. Thanks so much for coming out today and hanging out with us. We're super excited that you're here, and we want to hear about the hip hop scene in Erie. What's been going on, or like tell us about like coming up. When did you start rapping?
When did I start rapping?
Yeah,
dude, I was writing songs by myself without showing anybody, like Skrupski does. When
True.
When I was like, I don't know, 13, 12.
13.
Yeah, I remember writing a song in my room in my mom's house, and I thought it was pretty good. And in high school, I wrote a verse for this girl over the "Welcome to Atlanta" beat, and my homies clowned me super hard on it.
Oh, that's a devastating blow.
It's probably like real cringy.
Do you remember what you were rapping about when you were 13, or writing about when you were 13?
Yeah, I had a song about like seeing like a girl like out my window walking down the street.
Oh hell yeah!
Like, yeah, I mean, and I like wrote it about that. It was like some more like boy band type of feel. I think.
I feel like when
I don't even think it was like hip hop. I was just writing lyrics.
When you're like 13 years old, you only have like your influence pool is like so small.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, you haven't experienced anything yet, and it's like
And you listen to what's on the radio for the most part.
Star
you might have like
104.
a couple CDs or whatever of your favorite guys.
I was riding in my mom's Ford Escort, the red Ford Escort, listening to Star 104.
Right.
So, whatever I heard or whatever I was like writing or thinking about that in my head was a direct, result of that.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, I did the Welcome to Atlanta. Doom, doom, doom.
Jermaine Dupri and
yeah,
Ludacris.
he was on the remix, I believe. He might have been on the original, but yeah, it's Jermaine Dupri. He might have been on the first one. Yeah, I guess he was on the first one.
I can't remember.
Yeah, Welcome to Atlanta. Of course he was on the first
Welcome
one.
to Atlanta where the players play.
Yeah. They did have a remix to that, though.
I remember the remix.
And I wrote a song in 10th grade chemistry class.
Uh-huh.
All right. So we all got
Did you go to collegiate too?
Yeah.
With Dave?
Yeah, I was a year older than him.
Okay, cool.
So I'm 05. And Mr. Fiok.
I remember this.
Yeah.
With our class.
And we got paired up into groups of two for the final project.
Right.
And it was me and my homie Jerome Boykin. And I saw him not too long ago. He popped up at the club. So you got assigned an element, and our element was magnesium, and you had to present it in X amount of different ways. So you had to come up with like 3 or 4 different presentations or something like that. I feel like because I remember we did a PowerPoint too, and I think we wrote like a comic strip. But I wrote a song.
Magnesium's like an interesting
magnesium.
element too. It's
cool.
very reactive.
Magnesium is an interesting issue. It's mostly made of cells in your body.
Oh shit. Oh shit.
Yeah. So literally, I wrote a song. I can never remember the second verse of the song though, and it always breaks my heart. And I know it's on. I have a copy of it on this 2008 Dell laptop that I haven't been able to turn on since like 2010.
Oh, no.
Yeah, but I still have it. In fact, I think my homie, the 3-time Jeopardy champion Adam Holquist, has that laptop. He was going to try to get it for me, and he failed. And I got to figure that out because I know I can still get that stuff out of it. But in any event, we wrote a song called Magnesium over the Bow Wow basketball beat. They're playing basketball. That's like we need magnesium. That made Jerome do the hook. It was pretty bad, but I spit the verses and we killed it.
It sounds dope.
We got
it might have been bad, but it sounds dope.
It was like It was like magnesium is an interesting issue. It's mostly made of cells in your body tissue. You want to rhyme like me? I bet you wish you could. I want to see it, so I really wish you would. Only 1% of it is found in your blood. The blood levels are kept constant, so there won't be a flood. Keeps your heart rhythm steady and your bones so strong. Y'all know magnesium is the name of this song. We need magnesium.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, man, when blood levels of it are very low, when IV drip a tablet to provide some more, but too much may cause adverse effects. Diarrhea is the worst of these bad effects. Potassium's also in fruits and veggies. Eat lots of them and your health won't be edgy. And also your blood pressure will stay low, so heart disease and other problems will be no more.
Yeah. That's everything at once exclusive right there, dude.
That's the first and the third verse. I can't remember the second one.
The second verse is lost. We can make
The second verse was so fire too. I know it was. I know it had the best bars without a doubt. And it breaks my heart because I'm like one of those dudes. Like it's hard for me to pick out like lyrics that I wrote, even from anything, even if I didn't write it. It's hard for me to not more so than what I wrote. It's hard for me to pick out lyrics that are like in the middle of a verse. Like I chain it together. So like if I can remember the first two lines, I can generally remember the whole thing. But yeah,
somewhere in the middle.
But I would say that's where I started. Really, like we got the highest grade out of all the chemistry classes, and I know they used that as an example for at least a couple of years after I left.
So did you have it on like MP3 or whatever that they would play for the class, or did they have it on video?
They had it. No, it was just MP3. Yeah, I recorded it with the stick mic. Like remember the old stick mics with the Windows PC and Start Program Accessory Sound Recorder. So I remember like I had the song like playing on the computer, and I would play it,
from
and
the
record
speakers
at the same time, and then we would rap. We did the take probably 60 times.
Oh my god!
To get it right.
Hell yeah!
That's some dedication.
Like, screw it, man. This is good enough.
That's early teenage sound engineering at its finest, right, dude?
That's man.
And you got an A, so fuck yeah!
And
stay in school, kids.
Yeah, and that's like a good wholesome rap. I remember when I was in high school, not really writing raps about things that
magnesium?
I knew about. No, not magnesium or things I knew about. Just like trying to model
Be
it
tough
after
and live
like
that life.
the gangster rap. You
That's
know,
right.
Like, I remember my mom finding a few of my. Like,
I actually happened to be once.
Yeah, and like I don't remember any of mine, but I had a homie. My homie Paul, he wrote one about he had an '86 Buick Regal, and all I remember is the hook of it because it made his mom cry because it was
Wow!
pick you up. What it was like pick you up in the '85 Regal, got the style to make the girls spread eagle. And
Oh shit! That made his mom cry.
oh yeah, dude, it was a super sexual song. Like,
Wow, that would be a devastating blow.
Yo, you totally reminded me though. So I had this friend that lived across the street from me, Glenn. From the time I was like, I don't know, like maybe 8 until I think he moved away when I was like 12. But I remember me and him wrote rhymes one day, and I wrote like a whole bunch of stuff on like a little notebook, and my mom found it, and she wasn't happy about it. But it was like heavily influenced by whatever he wanted to rap about.
Yeah,
I know what I was talking about.
I remember being like a huge like Eminem and DX or not DMX, Eminem, Jay-Z, like Big Pun, all those guys from back then, and, you know, in that era, and just like, you know, my raps were just about like bitches and hoes and like things I wasn't getting, you know, like I had no experience. Like, I was just like writing that shit out.
I liked like Eminem at first, and then I really feel like I started to get into hip hop a lot more once Young Jeezy Thug Motivation.
Thug Motivation 101.
Hell yeah! And then I was like, oh man.
Time to re-up, gotta recycle the flow.
That's right. And then from then on, I was a immediate gangster rapper.
Dude,
like all I wanted to listen to.
Motivation 101 was fire.
All I wanted to listen to was shit about
Legendary.
people cooking crack and shooting people in the streets.
Dude,
it was amazing.
That was like my whole. I want to say freshman year of college. Dude. I got Keith Gombieski, who I started my band with, burned me. I still have the copy that he burned.
Hell
me.
yeah.
Motivation 101.
That CD was so hard.
Whole album, front to back.
Oh yeah.
Fire.
Yeah,
Every
so
track.
good.
Dude.
And
And then what? First I'm gonna stack my flow, and then what?
Then I'm gonna stack some more. Fuck yeah,
Blow
dude.
shop till I do my calls. Hide the rest of the yams in my auntie house.
It was so good.
The hardest bars.
It was. Yeah.
I don't drink Pepsi. I just sell Coke. So good, dude. That CD was fire.
Wow.
I'm in like So, like junior year of high school in my beat ass like 1989 Toyota Celica with 2 big 12s in the back, bumping that to McDowell every day, all day long. It was incredible.
Well, homie Brett had a what was it now? I was gonna say it was a Monte Carlo, but no, Bobby had a Monte Carlo. Brett had a Ford Taurus, like a '98, and he had some humps in it.
Hell yeah!
I remember listening to the GZ and
that CD bumps so fucking hard too, dude. That's like how I test like a new
super hard. Jeff Parada, I forget what he drove. It was like a Z. I don't know what you called it. Z26 looked like some
Z28.
It was
little
Z28
sport car.
maybe. Yeah, it's black. That car was sick.
Yeah.
But he same thing. Had the system in the back. Jeezy. Nothing
All
cheesy.
day, dude.
Yeah.
The funniest part is like I look young now, but like when I was 16, I legit looked like I was 8 years old. And in my I wish I had my old ID. I should just keep it on me just in case to pull it out. So here's like an 8-year-old driving this old '89 Toyota Celica, like bumping Jeezy really hard in like white suburban neighborhoods all the time. And I can just imagine people pulling up next to me and like looking at me and being like, "What the fuck is this 8-year-old doing right now? What is he doing with his life?" Fuck it though.
I was just listening to some other original Eminem this past week actually, because like a lot of times I work at the Rook, and a lot of times when we close up, we'll have a drink or two, just us and the staff, real quick, before we bounce out into the line. And we might do call in, always like take turns playing music on Spotify. But I was showing him some old Eminem, and same thing. My dude Alex, he goes by Lone Sav, real cool dude. He's like 23. You should interview him sometime. He's dope. He does a lot of different stuff in the arts community. But I was actually just like playing him a couple old Eminem tracks the other day, and I was like, he was born in 2000, so it's like crazy, or 1999.
Oh yeah, he's never even heard of that.
I told him like the release date of the Slim Shady LP. He was like, bro, it's like 6 months before I was born. And I was like, that's crazy.
A bad feeling.
But I showed him a couple tracks, and I was like, you can understand like how he just shook up the whole culture by dropping this music. I was like, dude, nobody had ever said shit like this before. It was mind-blowing.
No. And nobody will ever say shit like that again.
Nah, man.
No.
And I'm like, you could just imagine just by hearing this right now, like you can understand how much it changed the face of hip-hop significantly. And I was like, dude, this whole album's fire. Like, in fact, I was, for your homework, go home and listen to this album in Marshall Mathers LP.
Yeah. Like like those 3 CDs like chronologically are all just like masterpieces. Consecutive masterpiece after masterpiece.
I got caught up on when I was in college, with my LimeWire, Kazaa, whatever the fuck it was. I got caught up on Infinite.
Crashing Computers. Yeah, that's the original.
That's
a lot
the
of people didn't know
EP.
about that, but that shit was dope. I don't think I knew about Infinite until like years later. Like, I definitely didn't when it came out. My first experience to Eminem was My Name Is, like on the radio, for sure.
Right.
And then getting the burned CD,
Yeah. I think I was even like after that, it was like,
I'm Infinite.
What is it, Encore?
Yeah, Encore was
it went Slim Shady Eminem, or Slim Shady Marshall Mathers Eminem Show.
Oh yeah,
Eminem Show. That was like my first Eminem CD.
Yeah, Eminem Show, I think, not to get too much into the weeds there, but I think that's his pinnacle.
It's a good CD.
I think the Eminem Show is the best CD he ever put out.
So that's a whole podcast in itself.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
He's one of the goats. There's no doubt about it.
Absolutely.
So when did you make the jump from chemistry
class raps
to hitting the stage and being a rapper?
Penn State with Kaleem. My dude Kaleem Marriott, or more Kaleem Morrison, he goes by now. We were at Penn State, and I'm still got Eminem in my head. I was listening to Brain Damage this week. It's on fire, dude. We were at Penn State, and I really miss, in like reminiscence, I really miss that feeling of being like 23 and just like 22, and oh man, I'm so immersed in it. And my boy was just so good, like naturally good. Like we would just go to like frat parties and like at Penn State University, and
rap on these.
There's 100 people in the room, and like something we play, and I'd be like, yo, just spit something, and he would just go. And everybody would stop and watch him. Everybody. The whole party would. And they'd be like, wow, dude, this dude's insane. And I'm like, dude, I can be Diddy and you can be Biggie. He's like 6'4" from Brooklyn. He had long dreads and shit.
Hell yeah.
Just super, super dope. And he like rapped about like relevant shit for the most part. Even off the top somehow. Very tangible thoughts. Cohesive thoughts. And I I was like really pushing that. Like I wasn't going to rap. I was just trying to get him to rap. And I was a broadcast journalism major, right? So like this, like we had a Pro Tools studio where I used to cut clips. I had a sports radio show. And, you know, different various audio and radio classes that we would have to do projects for. So
Sure.
I asked the guys out there that, you know, worked at the studio if they would care if I, you know, went out there sometime to just kind of record some music. I didn't know what I was doing, but I was like, this is cool. I want to be out here. And they're like, yeah, I don't see why not, as long as it's not conflicting with anybody's schoolwork. They're like, if somebody needs to use a studio to do a class project, like,
Right,
they
you have to
obviously
give that up.
precedence. So like I did a radio show on Mondays from like 8 to 9 p.m. Main event Mondays. Started off with On Tap Tuesdays, me and my dude Shane Gazowski. And on Mondays after I would get done with my show, well, during the show, Kaleem would hop on the Red Link and take the bus out to Innovation Park where I was, and he would meet me when my show ended at 9 o'clock, and we'd work on music for like till the last bus around 11, and then take the last bus back to campus, or one of our friends would pick us up. Usually we caught the bus. But we just work on shit, and it was like the same deal as like what I did in Magnesium on my stick mic, only I had way nicer equipment.
Right.
But like I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. So literally, even with Pro Tools, and this is like almost embarrassing, but I was 22 and I didn't know I never had recorded before in my life. I was like playing beats off of YouTube and recording vocals at the same time on the same track.
Nice. Hell yeah.
So again, like we'd have to listen to it like 100 times and be like, no, this is too loud, like we have to do it again. You know what I mean? But like my dumb ass didn't know I could just put like I could record the track
Like
into
the
one
audio
track
track.
and then put the vocals
Right.
here.
There wasn't like YouTube University so much back then.
Dude,
Like,
I was literally,
I've learned all this shit.
I was teaching myself completely, dude. Yeah, right. Yeah, now you go on YouTube and learn.
I can find anything,
I
yeah.
probably could have found something back then if I thought about it, but
That wasn't like the thing. Like, that wasn't like what everybody knows, right?
Dude,
You know?
no. And I just wanted to do it. I was just driven and like, no, let's do this. And then we put out a mixtape, and it was like, going back and listening to it, the quality is terrible, but the content was fire. It was really good. It's called Genesis, yeah.
The Genesis LP.
We did two projects. I can't remember what the second one was. Any Last Request was the other one, but I did that one in Erie with him. But I did 2 songs on it with him. And that was funny because I remember he was like, yo, aren't you going to get on this? You know? And I was like, nah, dude, like, this is all about you. Shit. He's like, no, man, just like write something. And I wrote a verse to the song called Telekinesis that we did.
I remember that
and
song.
yeah, it was over Big Pun, You Came Up. You came up, what, making that happen? From rapping on the corner of the blocks to going platinum.
Hell
so
yeah.
when you roll, I used to ready to ride. It was on that beat. It's like a. The beat was fire. That beat was so fire, dude. Oh man, yo, I wish I could remember my verse.
I feel like somebody I know was talking about that song when we said that, when I told him that you were coming on. Like, oh, he's
There's
got this
no
one
way.
song.
There's like maybe 6 people in Erie that would ever know about that.
Maybe.
Yeah, and I'm one of them.
Yeah, maybe it might have been Dave.
It might have been me.
I'm trying to remember. Like it was like. So back up in the day, way back when I was just a young bull, I never had to worry, yo, my mama kept me dumb fool. Life was like a cookie, but my cookie never crumbled, and my pops was always busy, but the man was always humble. And little did I know, inside my school I'd be so blinded, and I thought it was a privilege to be enrolled up in private. I was brought up to find God, sometimes it's just so hard to find them. They tried to teach me abstinence, they had me absent-minded. Life was so limited, I was living in a bubble, and my mama always told me better stay up out of trouble, so I stayed up out of tussles, focused on my muscle, working just because it's how it was before I learned to hustle. And then once I had a taste, I had a mouthful. I just wanted to stack cake and vision and fill in the house. Well, 9 years away from home, you know the place that I was raised in. Believe I'm here to stay because I'm in it for the taking. Life ain't always what it seemed. Keep my mind grounded, but I always keep on dreaming. Penny in the water fountain. I'm crowned the king of my mountain. My rain won't fall. And until the day I'm 6 feet down, promise to have a ball. Yeah, I can't believe I remember that.
That unlocked a memory. I remember you. It was either down at State College or up at the Birdhouse. You just spitting that for people, you know, just on your own. Like Kaleem wasn't there. Yeah, that just sent me back about 12 years.
Yo, like, fuck, try, 12, 13. But it was crazy, man. Like, I really had no intentions of, like, getting into hip-hop myself, but that, like, kind of kickstarted it. And then, like, we made a couple pretty serious connections down in Penn State. And I had this dude named Shenjirai who, he now lives down in South Carolina. And Shenjirai was like a college professor. Now he's like a political analyst and stuff. And he does a lot of stuff. I haven't talked to him in years, but I follow him online. But Shencherai was like going for his PhD, I think. Well, what was cool about this dude is Shencherai was in this hip hop group from Philly called the Spooks, and they had actually went on tour with Jurassic 5 across Europe. Yeah, and they had like 2 gold records, and so the very first performance I ever had. Was it the first one? My very first public show that was like ever booked, not like a house party performance, was at Jamaica Junction. Were you there for that?
I think. Oh,
It was at the Head Shop in Penn State.
no, I was not there for that one.
It was called Jamaica Junction. It was a head shop, but they had like this hookah area too, which was like, it wasn't huge, but it was a big enough area to have a little show. You could fit maybe 40 people in there, 50 people or something. Upstairs was like all the glass. I remember all my friends were getting hammered upstairs, and they kicked everybody out. It was like, you're gonna break all the merchandise. Like, my friends were smashed. But
Of course they were, dude. That's how you support people back then.
Yo, so like, there was like 7 different artists on the bill, and we were going last.
Wow, so you're headlining.
We fucking crushed it, dude.
Hell yeah.
We crushed it. We were like, and I'm not trying to put anybody down, because there was some decent spitters like from the area, but like, we crushed it. And we brought like 80% of the people that were there.
Hell yeah.
So like, it was super live, and Rami was there.
Yeah.
My homie Rami, he lives in Australia now, and Rami went to Barron, so that was like one of my best friends in the world, and he lived in Erie. He went to Barron. That's where I met him. That's where we became friends. He stayed at Barron. I went to the main campus. Rami was down there with a couple other friends and shit, and yo, Kaleem, I remember this, like me and Kaleem burned, like we recorded like, I don't know, put together like maybe 50, 60 CDs and put them in jewel cases.
Nice.
And I had my homies Cliff and Jeff Michelson were Cliff the Raw Dog, I always call him. Clifford the Big Red Dog, like Clifford the Raw Dog. That's my homie. And they were architecture majors, and they had access to like huge sheets of paper and paper cutters.
Cool.
So they like took our cover that we had, and they would cut them on huge sheets. But so here's the thing. So the night before the show, they're supposed to cut these covers for us. The fucking whatever slicer that they used at the office or space that they had was broken.
Oh no.
So he comes to my apartment with just like these sheets. Like,
time to bust out the scissors.
Yo, Khalib, I remember being on my couch just cutting covers so our hands hurt. I remember looking over at Khalib at one point. He was like,
falling out. Had enough, dude.
Just falling asleep, dude. The scissors in his hand, dude, on the paper and shit.
Oh Jesus.
But we put all those CDs together, and Ronnie was handing out those CDs during and after our performance, and he handed one to that dude Shencherai. Shencherai was like, yo, who are those guys? Those guys were dope. And Ronnie tells me, yo, you gotta come meet this guy. He wants to talk to you or whatever. So I did. And he's like, hey man, I'd like to link up with you. Like, I got some beats and stuff like that I'd like for you to hear. I didn't know him at the time. We did a house party after that in the basement with this reggae band called, this white boy reggae band called the Percolators.
Cool.
What the fuck was the dude's name in it? Milenchuk. Yeah, Milenchuk. I think his name was Eric Milenchuk. And he was friends with Kaleem, and he was like, yo, I'd like you guys to do this party with us. And we did the party, and Chandra actually drove me there. Like, wanted to come and shit and hung out. And anyways, long story short, he offered to come. I didn't get him to come, but he came to the Pro Tools studio with me at the Innovation Park. And he brought, the first time I ever saw a mixer that an engineer would use, and it was a Pro Tools mixer, and he hooked it up to like the computer and the Pro Tools on there, and I remember like he adjusted the fader on the computer, and the faders were moving down.
Oh yeah, that's so cool.
Yo, like I've never seen that before.
Right?
You know, I remember being blown away. And dude, he had 4 fire ass beats. Like he was going through beats for us and was playing them, and that's kind of like where like we fell apart, because I got in an argument with Kaleem because Kaleem left that session to go smoke a blunt with somebody, and I'm like, dude, do you realize
this is the shit right
what
here
we have in front of us right now? Like, we have this opportunity. We got to work with this guy, you know? And like, in hindsight and shit, I mean, we were college kids and shit. I recognized the opportunity, though. I did. He wanted to fuck around a little bit. I felt like he wasn't taking it very serious, but I'm like, dude, you're so fucking talented. Like, come on, man. So we got mad at each other for like a week or two or something. Like, we were still cool with shit, but in any event, it kind of fizzled out. I think we did like maybe 2. Well, it didn't fizzle out. I don't want to say that, because we did a couple more shows in Penn State that were very dope. And one of them was we opened for Fat Joe and Noriega.
Oh, that's fucking.
That was
It was supposed to be CNN. It was supposed to be Capone and Noriega, but Capone couldn't make it or didn't make it for whatever reason, and Noriega actually did. Never really liked Fat Joe since that day. No, he's dope, like a dope artist, and obviously he's like, I mean, just a pioneer.
Yeah.
You know,
Back in the day, that was the shit.
he just didn't like perform anything. Like he just like just let the crowd rap his lyrics and like spit a couple of his bars, and he didn't watch any of the openers. And I just was kind of salty about it because Noriega was like there cooling the whole time. Noriega and Kaleem were chilling afterwards doing tiger bone shots.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, like, but I had a couple friends that got kicked out of the show for being drunk. So yeah, I was trying to like rally my friends and figure out who was where after the show. So like, I didn't end up chilling with Noriega and shit. There was a lot going on, man. Like, there was a lot of funny shit that went on that night. But Kaleem also got to open for Mac Miller when he started was it the Incredibly Dope tour, or it was Kids tour, if that was the same thing, I forget. But it was like Mac's like first like tour. I mean, he played out of town and shit like that, but this was the first one. He's sitting on the bleachers with his homies and shit, and like blue box and shit. And I didn't make it for that, man. And I always regretted that. I wish I did. I was back in Erie, so there's like a whole section of things that I skipped over there. But I got arrested when I was at Penn State, and I got set up selling weed by an informant. Yeah.
Boo.
Boo that man. Boo that man. Yeah. If this ever gets to him, his name is Doug. Fuck
you, Doug.
I don't think he would ever see this, but I remember him, and I remember that very well. I'll never forget it.
Doug sounds like the name of a
Doug. I'll never forget that.
Yeah, fuck you.
I hope all the bad things in life happen to you. No, I'm kidding. No, maybe. But
maybe a little bit.
I'm way over it. Yeah, so anyways, I had to move out of state college. I did graduate that year, though, so...
Not a super big thing.
But we didn't know what we were going to do musically. We were kind of, like, still trying to figure shit out, but, like, I had to move back to Erie.
Yeah.
I really didn't have a choice. And I ended up eventually going to jail for the whole thing. And I had to go back to Belfont, PA, outside of Penn State.
For court and all that shit. And
I had to go to jail there. Jesus. And then when they let me out, I had to go back to Erie. And Kaleem moved to Philly. Kaleem moved to Philly.
You said he was from New York originally?
He was from Brooklyn. He grew up with his mom in Brooklyn. And I'm thinking he moved to Philly with his girlfriend, who he's now married to. Awesome, Althea.
Cool.
They're a great couple. They're just, I mean, two of my best friends in the world. Love them to death. I think they were dating then, and I think he moved to Philly with her. I can't remember why else he would have went to Philly. I don't think he went there for a job or anything like that. But we just, like, never did anything. Except he did come to Erie over, I want to say it was Labor Day weekend, and I think this is when I lived at what we called the Bunting Palace on 5th Street.
I remember Fifth Street, yeah.
I lived directly across the windows of my apartment were directly across from the Gannon football field, from the end zone.
Oh, nice.
From
Okay.
the east end zone. And Kaleem came to town and actually recorded a mixtape with me in that house.
Cool.
I had come up on some equipment while I was here. Man, I'm trying to like piece it together. Yeah, I think I got that from my homie George. And I was just doing a little home studio setup, super basic, and I recorded this mixtape called Any Last Requests. That's a little bit better quality, and it's still on DatPiff.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And I didn't spit anything on that. No, yeah, I did. I had a track on, we remade that song Deuces.
Yeah, I remember that song, yeah.
I might have had something else. But that was the last thing that we ever did together in terms of creating music together. I booked him, well, I didn't book him, but I got my homie, this dude, Iggy, they called him. He moved out to Portland. He used to book, he's an older head that booked hip-hop shows in Erie back at the Crooked Eye back in the day. Some really cool shows he did there, too.
I don't ever remember going to Crooked Eye for any hip-hop shows.
Dude, I opened for Dead Prez there. I opened for Nappy Roots. I opened for Bubba Sparks.
Damn, where the fuck was I?
At Crooked Eye. All those were at Crooked Eye.
Yeah.
But I got Iggy to book Kaleem, and Kaleem came to Erie and did a show at Crooked Eye, and I did it with him. I want to say my band was on there, because I remember him performing with my band, so it was like a LEC Kaleem show. And and when I was on house arrest, after I did jail, I was on 3 months of house arrest. One of my best friends in the world, Evan, was just at his wedding a few months ago in Vermont. He lives in Vermont now. He was moving to Philly, and my friends wanted to throw him like a going away party, and I was like, I can't go anywhere. Like, I have to be at my house. I was like, can we just have it at my house in my backyard? Which has never happened, by the way. I've never had anybody. Very few friends have been to my mom's house. I mean, best friends have. But ever since I was little, when I was in high school, I never had any parties at my mom's house or anything like that. But everybody came together for it, dude. It was mad cool. Yeah, I had money because, like, I saved every penny I had when I was in jail. I had work release and shit like that. Where I was at in Belfont, you still went back to jail at the end of the night. That's where you lived. But I worked at Jimmy John's, and I got to keep tips, like, in the safe at Jimmy John's.
Hell yeah.
And I did okay. And granted, the court system took a lot of money from me. I still made okay. I didn't spend on anything.
Right.
Commissary.
Right.
So when I got out, I remember I bought a TV, and I bought a Logitech surround sound. And
there you go.
Yeah. And then I was working when I was on house arrest.
Sure.
For my pops on houses. So yeah, I paid for some stuff. My homie went and got a couple cakes. Somebody got a birthday cake made for Evan.
Hell yeah.
Somebody got meats and was grilling all day, and we had a party in my backyard. And I had Kaleem and our friend Pierce from Penn State come and perform in the backyard.
Oh fuck yeah!
And this kid Brian Ferraro, who's from Erie, and he had a band at the time and went to Penn State, and he played at the party, and then. That was technically the LEC's first show.
I remember that.
Yeah,
I was at that show. I remember because you couldn't. I couldn't go off. You couldn't go off the porch or the deck out back. Yeah, because you had the ankle monitor.
Yeah, I wouldn't be too far away from the thing.
From the house. Yeah.
So they ran a mic cable to the deck
porch.
For me.
Fuck yeah, good shit, dude.
Yeah, and my homies, our late homie Dubo and my friend Keith, who I started my band with, put up a pop-up tent, and they set up like a drum kit in there, and we had a show in the backyard.
Fuck yeah.
But that's like, man, I totally like went off on that, but that's like the entire history of me and Kaleem's music, really.
Yeah.
But that's like really what started it. So when I came back to Erie, before I went to jail, when I lived on 5th Street, Keith was coming over with his acoustic, and he was like, one day he was just told me, he said, yo, you started doing hip-hop shows in Penn State. It's kind of hard to do hip-hop shows and like get paid for it here. He was like, but if we put a band behind you,
you're good.
Could potentially do some stuff like that. He was like, I'll play with you. So he used to come over with his acoustic guitar. Sometimes Dubo would be there playing fucking drums on the keyboard. Yeah. And I would just sit on my bed with my laptop and just like hammer away at lyrics. The next thing you know, we had a band. And then I went to jail, and when I got out, we picked it right up. I was on house arrest, and Keith was coming over twice a week, and we put some guys together. And started off with Andrew Udesky, Evan's little brother. He was on drums. This dude Gator that we went to Penn State with, he was originally on bass. He never played a show with us. Gator, man, vanished. I hope he's doing well. I haven't seen him in a long time. But he kind of disappeared during that time. I don't know what happened. It's some kind of thing going on. I didn't hear from him for like a month. It was just like a crazy situation. But that opened the door. I brought in Pat Roach. And Roach is a phenomenal bassist and great. He's an engineer too. But I brought him into the band, and I remember when I was recording by myself on house arrest, I was talking to Rohan, another friend from Penn State Barron, who now lived in India, where he was from. Oh, cool. And he still like does like music, and he like works in. I haven't talked to him in a little bit, but he was doing like Bollywood scores and stuff like that.
Oh shit, nice.
Yeah, he's doing really cool stuff over there. Whole nother story, but. I asked him one day, I said, yo, like, do you know anybody like that you jammed with around here that might be able to lend an ear, help me out in recording? I don't like know a lot about what I'm doing. I could use some help. And he told me to hit up Pat Troster. And I did. And Pat came to my house. Pat was like, it was funny because like I knew Pat. I met him a few times. He went to Penn State, Maine also. Met him a couple times out there. Wasn't like the type of person that I would just like gravitate to like and hang out with. We were just like kind of different people. But he came over to my house while I was on house arrest, man. Brought his keyboard and everything, and where he shows me some stuff, like with my recording and stuff. And then we were kind of jamming out. He was playing his keys, and this dude is ridiculous on keys. And phenomenal singer also. And I told him about the band. He's like, yeah, I'd like to try that out. You know, I was like, dude, would you want to come to a practice? He's like, yeah, well, why not? And
right. So
he came, and he's jamming with us a couple times, and Pat's immediately like just a huge part of it. And then when the whole thing happened with Gator and I brought in Roach, it just like everybody was just like, yo,
this is
like, it. Keith knew who Roach was, and then when Roach and Troster jammed together, they were just both like, yeah, this is gonna be cool. And we did that for 2 days every week when I was in house arrest. I I never had a room in my mom's basement, and when I had to move in for house arrest, I was like, I need to create a space down there so we're not stepping on each other's toes. And that dude Gator actually went and got a rug for me.
Nice.
And brought it to the house. And I think my mom, I think he like left it on the porch or something. My mom was like feeding it through the basement window to me. And I like, as she fed it in there, I like fit it in the room and cut it like around this pole and shit like that.
Yeah.
And boom. And then I hooked up like a thing to the cable wire and like ran the cable downstairs. So I had my TV there and I had my music set up here.
Yeah.
That's where it was born, man. And
The LEC.
the LEC, the only known as the Lower East Side Connection then.
Yeah.
We had so that whole thing was in the summer of 2011. And then we had our first show, I think it was like February 2nd. It was like the beginning of February at Bullshooters Bar and Grill.
I remember Bullshooters.
Keith they had,
Where's that?
Dude, it was on Franklin Ave and East Lake Road.
Oh, okay. That's not where I was hanging out.
That's out
Dude,
there.
so Keith and our good friend Andy Boyer, who I hang out with all the time now, is one of my best friends. Boyer was originally also considered like for the bassist in my band, but he got a job at GE at the time, and he just couldn't do it. He was,
Too busy.
and dude, that like has led to just like his life has always been like it's fallen in place. He's worked very hard and everything has gone really well for him since then. But then think about it this way, man. He was like. Well, he was making more money. Like GE laid him off after like a year or something like that, or two maybe, and they paid for him to go to school. He was making more money on unemployment than I was working.
Yeah.
Like it was just a great opportunity, and
Sure.
he just didn't have the time to put forth to the band then. And but Boyer and Keith had played in a cover band called Spike T Punch. And this is before I knew anything about the Erie music scene. This is like when I was in college and maybe even before, because I know they did some shows when they were teenagers as a separation scene. Dubo was in that. He played bass, and Kyle, how was his name? I could picture him. He was the lead singer. In any event, they played in a cover band called Spike T Punch, and Keith was connected with the dude who owned Bullshooters. I think his name was Mike. They also had a 25-cent wing night on Wednesdays.
Oh, there you go.
The beefiest wings. It was, dude.
It's hard to find a beefy wing these
My
days.
friends did not
they're not
miss
around
wing
anymore.
night on Wednesdays at
course
Bullshooters.
not.
No, who would?
It was fire.
No.
But dude, Keith got us a gig there, and that dude paid us like $500. We were
that's a
like,
good
yo.
deal.
Like, yeah.
And we brought mad people. It was dope. It was such a good time. And we did another show there. We did like the next month. Same deal. And then we made the video for our song My Home, which was about Erie. Mm-hmm. Cringy to me when I look back on it now. It's funny, like, but it's like it's such a huge part of my history. And that video got like 5,000 hits in the first day.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
And we were on the front page of the Easter Sunday paper, like the bottom, mind you, not like the big middle,
Yeah.
but like we were
That's
here,
serious.
like. And the owner of the Crooked Eye, Marty, he like messaged me on Facebook. And I was like, Keith, what does this mean? This says this guy's the proprietor at the Crooked Eye. He's like, that's the fucking owner. he's like, message him back, dude. Like,
Yeah.
And I hit him up, and he's like, hey, I'd like to set up a meeting with you guys, you know. And so we came in and talked to him, and he booked the show for us. And we opened for this like hip hop like quad group called I think they were Shark Tank from Baltimore. I still kind of feel bad about how many people came to see us and then just all like
Left.
didn't watch that.
You'll see that sometimes.
And dude, that's like still today is like a pet peeve of mine. Like if you
Stay for the whole
come to
show.
support the early artists, hang out, man. Support
Yeah.
the other guys, you know.
Sure.
I remember watching those guys and being like, damn, all my friends are outside. I felt like kind of some sort of way about it. You know?
Do you think like nowadays, now that you're booking shows and stuff, do you have like to say on what order they go on?
Absolutely. I do give like certain artists the option. I'm experimenting a lot.
How long have you been booking shows at the Rook?
That's a whole nother realm. Since March of last year.
Okay. So
And there's been a lot of ups and downs with it because just the politics behind the scenes and how everything's run there, which is great, no complaints. But there was just a lot of things hanging over my head where we really didn't know what the future was going to be like with the Rook. They have a board. Like, we have a board. We have to... This is a social club, technically.
Right.
So we don't get to call all the shots, put it that way. It's,
Sure.
it's a team effort. And I wasn't even like... I'm still really not the point that reports to that team above us.
Mm-hmm.
So there's steps.
Yeah.
And there were certain things I didn't know if I could do, or, can we get the money to do this, or are we going to be open? How far ahead should I book? That was most of last year for me. So I kept it pretty simple most of the year. In terms of booking the bands now, I'm booking out now. Like, I have a date filled in May.
Oh, wow.
Sure.
Right now. February's super, getting packed up. I have... And I can't announce some things because of contracts, but I have 5 downstairs shows in March booked. Every weekend there's a downstairs show.
Nice.
That'll be sweet. It's
Big
good
band.
to see it come back alive down
Big
there.
bands every weekend.
Wow.
Tropodelics this month on the 27th.
Tropodelics always a good show.
Gonna be massive, dude.
Classic Rook show.
They had 495 people at BT last year. And
That's a lot.
This one's gonna be big. But to answer your question, typically I select or I hit up somebody, who maybe hit me up or who I haven't booked in a while. I get requests all the time to play at the Rook from bands and artists, and it's super hard to keep up with, man. I mean, the inbox is just full, and I feel bad so I can't get back to everybody a lot of times. But I'll say, hey, are you free in this date? You want to do a show that date? Yeah, cool, okay. Maybe we should add how long can you play? Maybe we should add an opener. And then sometimes I'll be like, is there anybody you would like to play with you for that night? Do you have any recommendations?
Sure.
If they do, I'll listen to them. Maybe we'll just do that. We'll do that bill. Other than that, if they don't, I'll say, okay, I'm going to try to pair somebody up with you. And it's worked out. This past weekend Matty B just moved back to town. And he just did the Broke Bowl and Blues batch for him and Mike Love Muscle Russell, and I'm embarrassed to say I can't remember the guitar player's name. He's an older dude. He's a beast. But I paired him with this dude. It actually, ironically, Jared was supposed to be on the show.
Oh, okay.
And Matty wants to do like multi-genre shows.
Yeah.
So
It's good. It's good audience sharing. You know what I mean?
He wants to start doing stuff like that. So I talked to Matty on the phone in early December. And he told me when he was going to be in town and he wanted to do the show. And he said, can you ask Jared if he would be on it? Because, Matty has that actual studio around here. And during the pandemic, especially, a few of us were going over there and rapping on some stuff. Matty started making beats, dude. It's like crazy. I have a couple songs with him.
Cool.
That aren't out yet. But in any event, I hit up Jared, and Jared was like, yeah, fuck yeah, dude, I'm down, it'd be awesome. And then Matty and Jared talk, and Matty's like, we're on the phone talking about the show, and Jared's like, yeah, man, hell yeah, dude, it's gonna be great, I can't wait, He's like, wait, what was the date again? And Matty's like, oh, January 7th. He's like, fuck, dude, I'm gonna be in Mexico.
Oh, shit.
And then Jared hits me up, and he's like, well, would have helped if you would have if I would have known the date. And then I sent him a screenshot of message.
No.
Literally the very first thing I said to him was, hey, do you want to play a gig at the Rook with Matty B on January 7th?
Oh, no.
And he's like, oh, my bad.
Fortunately, we haven't had that issue here yet.
Actually, I feel like we did. Wasn't somebody in Mexico for something we were going to do?
Was it in Mexico?
Jared's
Was it
in Mexico
Jared?
right now.
No, it wasn't Jared. Mexico's apparently a popular place to go
We
when
had
you're
people
supposed to
in,
be somewhere else.
Slovakia or something like that.
Slovakia. Who the fuck would have been?
Czech Republic or wherever. Jess in Prague. That's where they went.
That's where they went. Prague. Yeah.
Hell yeah. Oh, Jess?
Jess
and Nick.
Taylor and Nick.
Yeah. I'm good friends with them.
Yeah, they were in Prague when we originally wanted to book them, so we ended up getting them like a month later or something like that.
Nice.
And
Yeah, they're awesome.
nicely,
They're great.
yeah,
Yeah, dude.
Good people.
We got Matt Flowers coming on too.
Yeah,
in a couple-
Flowers.
like the end of this month.
Nick's
or
cousin.
no, 2 months. Yeah. Fox Grotto.
Yeah, Fox Grotto, man. Yeah.
Right, yeah.
What I was getting at with Jared being on that show, so since he couldn't, I got a guy for Matty, and it's this dude, Rusty. He goes by Rusty B or Rusty Blue, and I'm like, he has a really good vibe.
Matty
it's very
B,
similar
Rusty
to
B.
Matty. It's not a different genre show, but I think they had met in passing before, but this weekend was the first time they actually talked and whatnot, and the show went over great. And
Hell yeah.
they were a great match together. I hope they do stuff in the future now. So that's a big thing too that I really take a lot of pride in terms of booking music, is kind of just creating connections and networking.
Yeah, definitely.
Helping people network, gain opportunities. And now that I'm bringing in more bands from out of town, I'm hoping to start pairing some locals with those guys so they can learn how touring works, or maybe they can swap shows and get out of town and play shows with those guys in other cities. So I've been doing like, outside of the band. I mean, the band hasn't played now since Chafee's in 2021. So it's crazy. Like I'm itching to create, and I have a lot of music on the back burner. I even have a music video that's been done with Jared, featuring him. It was finished like the last week of September, first week of October. I still haven't put it out. I keep saying I'm going to, and I just haven't done it. But now I'm just like really focused on creating opportunity.
Yeah, that's kind of what we're going for too here, is building up a little bit of a network and the community around the music scene and all the different arts here in Erie, for sure. Letting people know what's available and what's going on. I think the last time I saw Jared, I don't know if you were there or not, but it was at Scotty's. I feel like LEC was there. I'm not.
We played at Scotty's a few times.
It was like right before Scotty's closed. It was like years ago. I can't.
Yeah, just within the last few years.
Fuck yeah.
We did a couple things there.
What do you think of the scene in Erie? Do you feel like there's enough places for these original bands to get out there and play, or
Absolutely.
You think so?
I think it's harder to just figure out who's playing. But yeah, no, absolutely. The venues are okay right now. You have the Rook, which I've been building up. BT always has stuff going on. Altered State, fire. Not your prototypical venue type of place, but they get some good bands, and they have a killer. Everybody raves about their open mic jam too. I mean, some of the most elite musicians around here go and jam out there. So people are like,
I've never been to one of their open mics. That sounds cool.
What's the word? Like people are like young or not as experienced musicians are kind of nervous to go there.
Like unseasoned.
There's just like beast musicians that go jam out there, and but they book some really good shows over there.
Philly on
the Rocks does stuff all the time too. A lot of hardcore stuff. Elle Taylor does an open mic there on Sundays. Other people host it too. She's awesome. She just got the best new band or artist for Erie Remix.
Oh yeah, those just came out the other day.
I didn't even know about that shit, dude. I was number 2. So me and C Brown every year since like 2014. Nice. Yeah, so Brown won Best MC. I actually won it last year, which honestly, and it's an honor because that means I mean people really fuck with me and they support me, which is great. I mean it's like it's a great feeling.
Yeah, no doubt.
But also there's just so many people overlooked, dude. Like, what did I really do this year? Like, did I put out a song? I don't know if I did. You know what I mean? And so I think those the award stuff like that is, there's pros and cons. And the pros is, it lights a fire under people. It keeps them going. But the cons are a lot of people get overlooked. It's a popularity contest.
For sure.
At the end of the day, it absolutely is. There's not like a panel of people going around and judging artists and going to shows.
Right.
These people.
That name recognition is so big too. Like,
you
just see like a name like yours or like somebody else that's around here, and it's like, oh, okay, duh.
C Brown, Jonny Evans. But shout out to my homegirl Fresco, who was also in the top 3 with us.
Oh, fuck
Fresco's a beast, man, and I've booked her so many times. I just booked her with this band called Camel Butter. They played last Friday from Camel Butter's from Cleveland. And yeah, she's just awesome. I have a song and video with her too, and she's just an uplifting force. And Dope's better. She keeps evolving, and she's really good. The venues, I didn't want to leave out too. So you have Lavery's too.
Lavery's,
yeah. So they have the Bunker there. They do a lot of like some punk shows, some rock shows there. And I haven't made it. I've only made it to like one of those or 2 of those. And but like if you ever look at the lineups and you look at the pictures of the shows, they're packed. People go there, and that's cool.
Sandbar,
I think it's good.
Yeah, that's one that we've had.
Yeah, our last guest just came on. A couple of our more recent guests have been playing there. I guess they just started doing
that's
this
good.
Recently.
My experiences with the Sandbar are very up and down as with a lot of people.
Right.
But that's good. I mean, if they're doing stuff and people are playing there, I do know of a hip hop show that was booked there a couple months ago that they canceled last minute. There's a lot of people pissed about it. Oof. But I don't know. I don't know what's going on behind the scenes there, so I'm not going to speculate or talk shit or anything like that. But there's a few venues out here. Absolutely, man. And I think people are getting out.
More. It's a process too. I think a lot of people expect like instant fame overnight. You know what I mean?
It's tough, dude. It's been really tough. Well, people expect instant fame, but the truth is that if you want to succeed as an artist or a musician this day and age, you have to be huge on social media. You have to push it, you have to market yourself, and you have to succeed at all of those things.
Right.
Just playing shows
Not going to do it.
Unless you're like really touring and playing out and playing festivals and getting in a van with your bandmates and going and doing it. I mean, you're never gonna get where you want to get without using the internet.
Right.
It's an old thing. We've talked about it. I've brought it up with a few of our other musician guests, artist guests. I read a book in college. This is from the beginning of the 20th century, and they say that for artistic people, it's not like you have to be talented, but there's more of a gauge of success for how well you can socially network yourself. You can be the best goddamn musician on the face of the planet, but if you're too timid to put yourself out there, or you don't have the right group of friends, or nowadays the social media presence, it's gonna fall on deaf ears. You could be incrementally less talented, but if you're good at promoting yourself, you're gonna have a substantial following.
Yeah, and if you have the circle around you too to help push that shit. People post all the time. You'll see. I mean, I've seen a lot of artists posted in town. It's I get more support overseas than I do from my own homies. It's free for you to share my song.
Right.
But how come nobody does it?
Shout out to our one listener from Australia last year.
That's right.
Seriously, that makes a huge difference when your friends get behind you and they share your music and stuff like that. And
it does mean so much. It means so much when anybody shares any of our comments, or for any artist or any person trying to build that network.
Yeah.
It's so big.
It's work, man. It's a lot of work. I mean, I'm still here. I'm 35 now. It's just so weird. Sometimes I just sit and think about it, and my homies will tell me, it's just a number. Do what you're doing. And I totally agree with that. Your message can be absorbed. It doesn't matter what age you are. Most people don't even know how old you are. It doesn't matter, But at the end of the day, it's just so weird to think I've been doing this for 12 years, something like that. It's just, where did the time go? But I'm still sitting on an album. I have 25 songs right now that just aren't out, and I keep giving myself dates to put them out, and just never get around to it. Work.
Yeah.
Things pop up, family stuff arises. You get on that, My mom was just sick. Happy to say she's doing a lot better each day at a time. COVID, pneumonia stuff. She got hit pretty hard with it. But I plan on dropping that video a couple times over the holidays that I haven't got around to it,
What was COVID like for you? Were you booking
the whole time?
No, prior to COVID, you just started booking shows at the Rook recently. Were you involved in any of that stuff before, or during COVID?
No, I was a frequenter at the Rook. I mean, that was just my home base for I don't know, almost 10 years.
Right.
8 years. The pandemic itself was actually beneficial for me overall.
Okay.
Which is not like most people, but I was just a victim of my schedule. I was just pulled every which direction every day.
So that gave you some time.
Kind of getting back into it. Yeah, dude, I had 2 years to just fucking sit down and not have any gigs.
That's why you got 25 songs sitting under your belt now.
Yeah.
Well, released.
I wish I could say that. Some of the songs are from there, but I actually put out a couple songs and videos during the pandemic. Mm-hmm. A lot of those songs are from before the pandemic.
Oh, okay.
Not all of them, but some of them are.
Did you?
Yeah.
Did you miss being on stage during the
Nah,
beginning?
it was nice to take a break.
Yeah.
I miss it now. No, for real, it really was, dude. It was one of those things too. It was just how many times am I going to be on the same stage? I want to do some other shit. And,
right.
I miss playing in the band a lot. I do. I'm hoping to put something together. I'm working on a show, not confirmed, so I'll say it, but with Sophistafunk from Syracuse, and there's no better band to open for those guys other than the LEC. So I'm trying to put together some form of our band for it to open that show if we make it happen. If you don't know those guys, they're a 3-piece, sometimes 4-piece with horns. Tommy Weeks on brass. They're amazing. Jack Brown, Adam Gold, E-Man, Emmanuel Washington on drums. So E-Man drums and sings. Adam plays keys and bass on the keys, on 2 different keys, and Jack raps. And then they have Tommy Weeks, ridiculous saxophonist, and he's sometimes with them. But just to show you those guys' level now, I mean, they're just a band out of Syracuse. They played festivals, around the place. They've been to Electric Forest. But Guy Fieri just started a game show on the Food Network called, what the hell is it called? Guys, I'm so bad I can't think of it now. Anyways, he started a game show on the Food Network, and they just finished the first season, and Sophistafunk was the house band.
Oh, wow.
That's dope.
That's really cool.
Yeah, and they had wicked celebrities on there every episode. And I got to hang out with all of them. Yeah.
That's
and
super
E-Man also has a project called the Frank White Experience, which is a Biggie tribute band. And I booked them. I booked them they were one of my bigger shows in the spring that I booked. He hit me up and was like, yo, can you get my other project at the Rook? It's like, yeah, let's go. So
that's super exciting that you're booking shows and we're starting to see different people. Because I feel like the book was like jaded for a while pre-COVID. Like I felt jaded by the Rook, you know what I mean? It was a lot of the same shit.
Yeah, I'm trying to bring some of those bands back, but I'm trying to also book like all genres.
Yeah, spread it out a little
no
bit.
Disrespect, to how it was.
No, definitely not.
All the bands that came through the Rook were dope.
Oh, yeah.
Over the years, and I'd like to get a lot of those guys back. Some of them will play at BT. Some of them will play at the Rook.
Right.
But I do have quite a few of them on deck to come back.
Rook was definitely the place to go see like cool electronic jam bands and shit like that.
Yeah.
I got to be really good friends with Aqueous over the past year. Like, so my buddy Sam, who's the head of production at the Rook, a beast drummer, great engineer, incredible LD guy, light guy for live shows. I mean, he's just like super leveled up in the past year.
The basement is so set up for all that shit too.
Yeah. He's just awesome. But Sam got me on with the Aqueous guys to do sell merch with them. And I actually got to drive all of Aqueous's gear to Colorado last year with Sam.
Sweet.
That's
and
cool.
I did a 2-show run with him in Denver and Steamboat Springs, this really cool place called the Old Town Pub. Small. It's like 200 people. They had the sickest fucking bands in this place, like 4 nights a week. But yeah, and then I went to Rochester with them for a show. Couple different times we all linked up together and it was a lot of fun. And so yeah, I talked to those guys quite a bit, bands like that. I've gotten connected with a couple talent agencies that have a lot of really cool bands under their belt. I just booked a Fish tribute band in
I saw
December.
that, yeah.
Called the Lizards. Dope.
The Lizards.
Yeah, the greatest guys. They were awesome.
Yeah.
They were so pumped about the Rook, dude. They'd never been here. They're from Toronto. That's not that far.
Yeah.
They wanted to come back in like the beginning of February. It's like, I already had some stuff booked up. I was like, let's get it. I still got to get a date, but I'm hoping to bring them back within the next couple months.
I remember wanting to go to that show, but we ended up seeing some local bands at BT that night.
Yeah.
But I remember talking with my buddy about it.
No lack of venues. There's always something to do. There really is always something to do. Just get out. And that was, I think I was getting into that earlier where it was post-pandemic. It was just like, you didn't know if you were going to survive, man.
Right.
It was like, are people going to come back out? A lot of people that I know, especially that, are my age or up to like 5 years older than me, just like don't go out much anymore. Mm-hmm. They'd rather be at home or hang out with each other, on the weekends and just spend time with their friends, which, I mean, I like doing that too, I'm just in the position where I wanted to get involved with the Rook because I felt like there's no better plug than me to put these musicians together and to get people in there.
Sure.
Another dope opportunity that I missed that I forgot to mention was I also went to Summer Camp Festival last year with Aqueous.
Oh man, I really wanted to go to fucking summer camp for like years.
To go to summer camp, dude.
They have like
so grateful.
They have the best lineup like every year consistently.
This year
in my
looks
opinion.
insane too. I'm really hoping to get back on that.
That'd be dope, yeah.
But
I've always wanted to go, but never made it.
I talked to musicians at summer camp last year, and we'd be like backstage, like hanging out with these bands and shit. And Sam would be like, "Oh yeah, Johnny like books bands at the Rook." They'd be like, "The fucking Rook!" Like there was multiple people that were like, "Dude, that place is awesome.
Yeah,
I want to go there." Like so and so was telling me about it, or like another person's like, "Dude, I played in that room downstairs. That room is sick, dude. I'd love to get back
so
there."
Cool.
Like I'm 9 hours away, man, and there's bands telling me, and I'm like, I need to get these bands back there or to there for the first time.
That place is such a. I mean, I think in Erie, it's the most unique space.
Yeah.
That's
how many people drive by it every day? I have no idea about it.
Right. Or it looks kind of shabby from the outside, but you get in there. I mean, the school bus upstairs and that's
the
just
outside
such a
porch area that they got now. Downstairs into the pit, the big fucking pit stage is like, I don't think
5 shows down there in March.
I can't wait.
In Tropidelic this month.
I'm looking forward to it. I want to see our one of the OGs, our Tyler, playing with Matt.
February 3rd.
Yeah, February 3rd of this month. We're trying to get Matt on right before the show, hopefully.
Yeah.
And can't wait to see that and all the other stuff that's going on. Yeah, dude, I love Tyler. He's a great dude.
He is, man.
You guys used to live together, too.
Absolutely.
Fuck
sure
yeah.
did, man. Yeah, that's my guy.
That's where I first met him was at Johnny's. I was randomly stopped over there for like fantasy football money. I forget what it was. But that was the very first time I met Tyler was at your place on 26th Street.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just below 26 on Poplar.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, man. I'm proud of Tyler, dude.
He's doing so much better, dude.
He's fucking killing it.
Well, the whole reason this podcast started, because originally we were doing Sink, Swim, or Fly together, and then like all of a sudden Tyler's booking tons of shows.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
I didn't put that together.
Yeah, well, we were doing that for like a couple months, and I was having a great time. I was fucking loving it and getting people to come on and booking shit. And then next thing I know, Tyler's busy every fucking night of the week, like doing shows and gigging, being a famous fucking folk punk star. And I'm like,
cooking soups at Oliver's on his back.
Right. And I'm like, he didn't have time for me anymore, so now I had to buy a bunch of gear and get a breakout on my own and do my own thing.
That's cool.
The person that really benefited the most from that was me.
This guy.
Now they have the podcast too.
Now Scrubsky has no time to go get Chinese food.
We'll do that soon.
So thank you, Tyler, for being a successful musician.
Although I will,
He's stupid talented. Man.
he's very talented.
Great, dude. I love him.
I will say though, before our rampant success on YouTube with this show, you know what my very first appearance on the interwebs was there was this video called Daylight by the LEC, and
Wait, you're in that video. Our second video of all time.
Second video of all time.
We were still Lower East Side Connection, by the way.
Lower East Side Connection at
Not
the
the
time.
LEC.
And if any of our fans want to go check me out in my younger days,
It's out there.
It's out there.
When I wrote that song, I thought that song was going to win a Grammy. It was so below expectations for him. I sucked at marketing, though. I'll be the first to admit it, dude. I was horrible at marketing.
We
needed that team.
Where did the name come from? The Lower East Side Connection.
Keith grew up on 4th and Parade. Dubo was from the Lower East Side. Granted, Dubo was never in the band. He hung out with us all the time, and he was part of the original creation, like playing the drums on the keyboard. Same thing with Boyer. Boyer was on the bass, even though he never played in the band. Mm-hmm. They all grew up on the Lower East Side. I technically was from like Middle East Side. I grew up on Buffalo Road between Brandis and Penn Ave. Mm-hmm. So I was right by the 12th Street Viaduct. And you go over that bridge.
Yep.
Now I'm on the Lower East Side. But I played boys baseball and all that shit, and all my guy homies down on the Lower East Side. I was always down there. So just coming up with names, we were brainstorming.
Just geographical.
We were in my mom's basement when I was on house arrest and trying to throw names out there. And we're like, that sounds cool. All right, that's what we'll do.
Fuck yeah.
We just stuck with it. Then we all moved out to the Lower East Side eventually.
So you couldn't.
I live on the Lower East Side now.
Yeah?
I actually do, yeah. I remember when I moved back down there, I was like, we should change the name of the band back. But LEC obviously is still from Lower East Side Connection.
Right.
People just got to know us more as the LEC. Mm-hmm. So we just kept it like that, and we left it up for an interpretation.
Yeah.
Loves extra cheese.
Ooh.
That should be the name of your next album, is Return to the Lower East Side.
That's sweet.
Yo, I'm not gonna lie. The day that I moved back there, I was like, I don't know if this is the move. I felt like I'd be going somewhere else. But no, opportunity is bliss. Now I'm down there for a reason, and it's cool, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's always cool to like represent where you're from too. You know what I mean? As much as like
It's kind of what we were trying to do.
Yeah.
A little bit,
bring a little pride back to Erie. I mean, our saying's like it's okay to love Erie, and
I hate that saying.
That's so shitty.
I work at the airport. It's like right on the building. On the airport.
What the fuck?
I'm like, why is that there?
Yeah, dude.
I remember people hating, so when we did the My Home video, I remember, people saying, I never seen these kids on the Lower East Side before. Who's that? And I remember Keith went on the YouTube comments and just commented, and all he said was 4th and Parade.
That's all you need to say, dude.
That's where he lived.
That's all you need to say.
I was like, hell yeah.
Didn't he take care? Didn't he do gardening? Didn't he?
No, Keith was I remember one time. Keith was the green thumb.
Yeah.
But I remember driving down Parade one time, and there's they put in those boulevards down there, right? Mm-hmm. So across the street, I forget if it was a block up or if it was right. Because I don't think the boulevard's right across.
It's on 5th Street.
Yeah, I think it's a block up from where he grew up. He was on the boulevard, bro, planting flowers, no shirt on, drinking Budweiser.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, don't tell me I'm not from the East Side.
Get out of here.
Yo, that's Keith. That's my dude. Man.
That's always interesting, though. That's something that's always interested me with hip hop. It's such a personal thing. If you were a rock band and you came out with that, you wouldn't have people I ain't seen you in this, on the streets.
Yeah, you gotta really represent yourself in hip hop. You have to really show how tough you are.
I think I worried a lot about that when I was way too much what people thought or what our image was, and I cared way too much about that, way too much when I was younger. I wish I hadn't. I think it held me back a lot.
Yeah,
I don't give a fuck now. It's all about the message, man. My message has always been positive. It's always been to build people up, and so that's where I'm at now. I'm no matter what I put out into the world, I just want it to help somebody.
Right.
I don't give a fuck about anything else. If you don't like me, you don't like me.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to do my part, man. We're all here for a reason. We all have a job to do. We all have, to make some impact on this time that we got. Which, when you, like I said, dude, I blinked my eyes. Like, I could picture myself on Allen Street rhyming, rehearsing my rhymes in my head in Penn State, just getting started like it was yesterday. And now I'm 35 years old. Like, we ain't here that long, man. Mm-hmm. Me and Scrub lost countless friends, man, like through our 20s. Life, you don't know, man. It's not that long. So it's like, you got X amount of time to leave an impact. And I have found in my life that music has just been ultimately the best way that I can leave an impact. I've just impacted people that way. I always use this example, like Daylight. So when I put out Daylight, I had multiple people, one female especially, who's unfortunately not with us anymore today. But I remember I got a message from her specifically, and she was going through a tough time. She was like, "Hey, I really love that song you put out." She was like, "It really helps me get through the day." And I was like always planning on going to I had a degree in broadcast journalism with a certificate in sports journalism. And I'm like, going to be a play-by-play guy or something like that, which still could be a great fallback. I'd have fun with that. But I remember getting messages like that, dude, and being like, wow, I'm just never going to impact somebody's life the way that I am now. And I'm not even I wouldn't even consider myself good, my thought process at that time, yet. And I'm like, I'm already impacting people in a positive way. I'm never going to do that behind a desk. Right. And I just kept with it. I just, that's why music is so much of a big part of my life. And now it's why I'm trying to create opportunities for other people to be able to get their voices out there and push themselves and spread their message.
There's something really powerful about just having something authentic from your soul. You know what I mean?
There's no feeling like it.
Yeah, and putting it out there and having people love, enjoy it, and cherish it, and have it leave some sort of effect on them is just magic.
That feeling, man, when I write a song and it really comes together, dude, it brings you to tears. And when you hear it, or even when I just finish writing a song and I'm happy with it, my hair will be standing up on my arms. And I just I know this is right. I know it. I feel it, That happened to me last year. I just wrote about this. So I was in Erie Arts and Culture made me their featured artist a few weeks ago. And I talked about this in my interview. So I had this mentor. I say mentor. He was a friend. But we would all call him a friend. But he was no doubt a mentor to myself and to the guys in my band. His name was Dave McDonald, and he passed away a couple years ago of brain cancer. And it was crazy because nobody knew he was sick. He thought he had a sinus infection. Went into the hospital. He had stage 4 cancer, and it lasted 6 months more. And Dave was at every fucking show, man. My shows, Aqueous, any bands that were from Jamestown, Buffalo, Rochester, Erie, and that even down to Pittsburgh. He was there. He was in the front row, right? And Dave was cool as shit, man. And he was a beast musician himself. I mean, just a great guitar player, singer. But he was just one of the most uplifting souls. He just was that dude, that nucleus, that if he was around you, he brought everybody's vibe up. Mm-hmm. And Dave loved my band. And Dave would always gas us up, dude, any chance he got. And anytime, if he didn't make guitar shows in Erie, he lived in Jamestown usually. If I was ever around that area, he was there. And he still made most of our shows in Erie. But Dave had told me in the hospital, actually, and he might have mentioned it to me beforehand, but I remember specifically in the hospital him telling me, you got to work with Jimmy Bloomquist. He was a DJ from Jamestown, and Bloomquist, now known as James Fiorella, he actually changed his last name, or DJ Jimmy Whispers. Dude, it's an old head of hip hop, but he's almost I don't want to say old head is a negative term.
It's not old.
He started he had a hip hop store in Jamestown in '93. Yeah. And this dude has been scratching the shit out of records since back then. And killing it. And he's just one of the dopest producers and beat makers there is. And he's done a lot of cool shit in his life musically. And Dave was you need to work with this guy. And I had messaged him. I had wrote a song over... I was listening to Pandora. And that's how I came up with a lot of ideas when I was younger. I would write... I would listen to stations on Pandora that played a lot of instrumentals. and the instrumental that came on was Jizza, Bible, basic instructions before leaving Earth. That beat was just so fucking hard, and I remember just being in my apartment like, man, and I had this idea came to me, all right, and I just started writing like within like an hour of hearing it, and I wrote this whole song, and I was like, okay, well, I'm not going to use a beat, something original that feels like that, and that's kind of hard to do. That's a tough task to put on somebody, like make a beat that like fits this vibe. And that's actually how my band, like how we wrote most of our LEC songs early on, especially. I wrote it over different stuff, and they're like, hey, let's make something that's
feels like this,
yeah. But I hit up Bloomquist, so this is actually during the pandemic, and Zoom, my first ever Zoom chat was with him, and we were like, he had all these royalty-free samples, and we were just going through them on Zoom and listening to them, and we started making this beat together. Like, when I say we started making the beat, he was making the beat. He was asking for my input on shit, but like he was making the beat. And man, this one it came out so good, right? It was so dope. But I was like, this isn't like the hype feel that I need for this track that I just wrote, though. It doesn't have the same vibe. But I was like, but it's so good, though. I don't want to not use it. Right. I'm thinking we write something different to this. Go back to the drawing board and then write something, or try to come up with another one. So I remember I was like, damn, like, what am I gonna do? I have to write something to this beat, you know? And I was driving around for maybe, I don't know if it was 3 days or a week, but I was driving around. That's how I come up with a lot of ideas too when I'm driving, listen to shit. And just hit me, man. I was driving and I'm listening to this instrumental he created, and I'm like, yo, I'm gonna write a song about Dave. Like a tribute to Dave. He brought us together anyway. Why wouldn't I do that? That's the first song that we do together should be about him.
That makes sense.
He connected us.
Yeah.
Boom, I put it down. I put down a verse, I think, and I wrote the hook. And then I was like, I gotta get my homies on it. Like, you know, I had friends, my boy Tony and, you know, Dan, I ended up getting on. The guys in my band loved Dave as much as I did. I was like, dude, Tony, you want to put down a verse for Dave? Fuck yeah. He probably had it done that day. Yeah, I'm on it. I wrote the hook and stuff. I was like, Dan, you want to sing the hook on this? Dan's just a sick singer, silky smooth. And I was like, you should sing the hook on this. So I like showed him how I kind of like wanted the lyrics to go and stuff. And boom, we went out to Bloomquist in Jamestown, dude, and recorded that shit. And it came out so fucking sick, dude. So dope. And we did and I had Pat Roach do a guitar solo on the end of it. And Roach actually did the video for it in his basement. Roach was just starting to use a camera. But I was like, yeah, man. I was like, Dave would love that organic, you know, style. Let's do it, man. I'd love for you to do that. And it just came out and it was just so meaningful. And one day, Bloomquist hit me up. He was like, yo, I got it. I think I got it. And he sends me this instrumental, dude, and it was crazy. And that's the one I ended up doing the song over. And then I went back out, recorded that song, and I put out that video last year, in January. I don't think it was January of last year. I think it was January of 2001. But that's like, that song is the one I'm the most proud of. The video especially too. So there's a lot of dope videographers around this area. Jess and Nick, fire. She's done a couple videos for me. Crew Life Productions, Dominic Ferrari, he's sick. K Sands, sick. My man Sav also does videos. The young dude I was telling you about that you guys should check out. Alex Daly's his government name. But my man Three Gloves Productions, Howard Glover, I linked up with him. That dude Iggy that actually I was talking about earlier, booked the hip hop shows at Crooked Eye sometimes. He put me in touch with Howie in like 2013, 2012 maybe. But Howie did that video for me for the song Inspire. The song's called Inspire. I don't know if I said that, but again, it's just like everything that I'm about. And I was like, dude, Howie, I need you to do this video. I said, the song is just right up your alley. Howie's also like 52 now, 53. It's like the same age as Bloomquist. I was like, dude, you guys come from the same era of hip hop. Howie's from Brooklyn. He grew up in New York and shit, but he's just like, that's the era. Like, it's the same hip hop era. They grew up in that. And I'm like, I want you to meet this dude. And this song right here, I've never had a song that fit you more. And I need you to do the video. And when I hit him up for it, he couldn't do it. He just had some personal things going on, family stuff, and he's just like, it's not a good time. So I waited like 8 months or something. I waited. I was like, I'm not letting it. I'm not doing this
you
video
got to
with
do this
anybody
video.
else. And then finally he did one day. He hit me up. He was like, yo, I'm ready. he was like, let's do something. I was like, I still got that song, bro. Send it to him. He's like, let's do it. He knocked it out. He knocked it out the park.
Cool.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know? So yeah, check that out. I'm super proud of that. It's going on my album that'll come out in 2035.
Yeah.
Put the videos out there. It's called Inspire, Jonny Evans.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. But yeah. It was, I don't even know how we got into that, but yeah, Dave.
We were talking about touching people.
Yeah.
But yeah. Dave impacted me significantly, and through him I was able to continue to impact, and now I've created connections because of him, and that's what I want to be to people.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's what we're hoping to be too, and continue to do all that same shit. All that shit really touches me right now. So thank you very much for coming on.
Yeah.
Cheers to fucking Dave and what's his name out in New York?
Bloomquist. Well, it's
Bloomquist.
not Bloomquist anymore. He changed his last name.
Fiera.
James Fiorella. Yeah.
Fiorella.
Yeah, James. Fiorella.
Shout out to both those guys.
Yeah.
Y'all
Yeah.
are amazing.
Yeah.
Johnny, you're fucking amazing. Thank you for coming on. This has been super fun, dude.
Dude, this is cool. Cool experience, man. I love that you guys are doing this.
Check out. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, there really is so much music overlooked in this town, and not just hip hop, all genres.
Right.
And I challenge anybody who listens to this to dig and check people out, because there's so much freaking talent around here. And check out my music. That's probably what you were gonna get into or something.
Yeah, something similar.
Or your guys' podcast.
Check out his.
Yeah.
Check out our podcast.
Yeah.
Go to the Rook. Go to all these other venues that are out here that are holding shows for local bands that are out there.
Yeah.
Trying to put their hearts and souls out to people so they can listen and be touched too.
They're out here.
Have
And
these authentic experiences.
we're doing shows at the Rook now. We're opening our doors, so we've only been open at 9 o'clock since pre-pandemic, and now we're opening up at 8 starting last week.
What?
So we're doing shows 9:30 rather than 10:30. So because I think more people will come to the shows if they're a little bit earlier. And when I do get my album out, one of the things that has taken me a long time with it is that I want to showcase so much talent on it. It's not just about me. So I have songs by several different producers. Like I was saying, I got Maddie B produced a couple songs for me. Okay, C Brown produced some songs for me. I got a song with Chauncey Bilsup, fire.
Hell
That
yeah.
dude is sick, dude. Yeah. I have beats right. Man, I'm trying to remember what other ones I got. Pat Roach. I have a couple. I have beats from people right now like Dommy. James Thigpen, he goes by J Tiz. He's putting out music right now that's super fire. Good homie, Team Lightskin, Team Hybrid. He's a good friend of mine. His music is super fire. He's putting it out now. He's got stuff coming out that's already out. I also have a whole folder of beats from Anthony Rogers, who's another producer around here. That dude's super talented, young cat. I've been sitting on his beats for a couple months, man, and I got one I'm working on right now. I told him the other day, I was like, dude, this shit's fire. I finally figured one out. Sorry, I've had a lot of stuff going on. But one of the goals with my album is to just showcase, different engineers and different producers. And like I said, Pat's engineered shit on it. My dude Ben Waite he's doing a lot of the mastering on it and stuff like that. So I'm just trying to connect as much local talent as I possibly can.
Spread the love
on
around.
project. Yeah.
Just like us, we're just trying to connect all the local talent, entrepreneurs, people that just love this space that we call home and want to make the best out of it.
There's plenty of room for everybody at all these tables.
Yes.
Absolutely.
We all want to eat, so come eat with us.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you again. Thank you everybody who out there listening. You guys are the best. Peace out.
Peace.
Peace.